situation they're in. I'm sure we all have questions around that we can maybe explore later on. But Julian,
yeah.
Would you like to share with us your
Good morning, everyone. It was actually a bit of a surprise that I went because Duncan contacted me and said, "Are you available? We think we have about 20 people in Turkey that are looking to be baptised." And I thought, 20? That's incredible. I've only ever been to baptisms with one, and not many of those. Just before we got there, he said, I think it's going to be 30. And in fact, it ended up as being 42. Now, for me, I've done a lot of travelling in my time on business and some on pleasure. I've been to China over 60 times. I've been to America over 100 times. I've never been to Turkey before, except on the way to China. And I've been to Istanbul, I think 4 times, just dropped off and then picked up another flight. So this was quite new to me, and I was meeting Duncan, I think the day after. There was a day in between where I was just meeting up with these brethren and sisters who I'd never met before. So I duly arrived at the hotel, and the following morning they came to pick me up, and we went out, and basically where it is, this is Turkey. You can see Denizli, that's how I pronounce it, and that's interesting because when you look at the places of interest on the early churches, that's the area that they were. And that is on the book of Revelation. You'll see the 7 churches that were sent letters to. That's where they all are. And really interestingly, you'll see that Denizli is right next to what I would call Laodicea, which I've always known as Laodicea. When I saw that, and when they were taking me out that day to do a little bit of sightseeing, I said to them, "Oh, can we go? Are we going anywhere near Laodicea?" And they looked at me, and I said, "Laodicea?" And they looked at me really strangely, and we moved on a bit further. I looked at a sign. I thought, "Well, that looks like Laodicea." So I said, "Laodicea." "Oh, Laodica." So Laodica's what I call it. So this is Laodica, and it's now being sort of rebuilt. They're doing a lot of work on it, and so we were able to go around and look at this city, which I think it was in the 2nd century it got destroyed with an earthquake. So this is really very similar to around the time that Paul would have been talking about. And this is actually, you can see foundations underneath the glass. They've got the glass there. This is mosaic in the church at Laodicea, and here is the restored building. And so we were able to walk around inside, and these are the people I were with. Lovely 2 couples. I won't give their names, but to give an idea of the story of one of them, his father was in the Iranian Air Force, and he later built a business, electronics business, which his son took over, doing really well, travelling all around the world. I was seeing the photographs of the sort of exhibitions he went to around the world, and he took a bit of interest in Christianity, and he was given a book by somebody, and visited 2 or 3 churches. And when he came back in one time through passport control, they searched his bags, found a book with pictures of Jesus in, saw the pictures on his phone. He was taken off, he says, tortured, to find out what it was all about. Because he was quite well off and had a solicitor that knew him well, the solicitor came in, got him back home before he was going to be called back in again. And even though he had a massive business, very successful, lovely house, he drove home, picked his wife up and his child, drove across the border because he was so concerned what would happen. And he, like the others, are stuck in Denizli, really as second-class citizens, unable to work in the industries they're qualified for, highly qualified people. the new UK regulations for next year, where they're talking about the people who will be allowed into this country, quite a few of those are fully qualified to come in and meet all of those, I think 70 points, as long as they're offered a job. And I think quite a few of those actually could be. And we're actually looking to see what we could do. So this is the hotel that I think Andy was in, the same as us. Very nice hotel, and I think Duncan said one of the things is we're allowed to use the swimming pool. Nobody asks any questions. There's a conference room, and almost next to it is this swimming pool, which works out really, really well. So these were the brethren and sisters that we were with. That was a photograph that was sent to me of the meeting that was being held in somebody's house, where a lot of these people were ones who wanted to be baptised, and you can see how full that is. Oh, sorry, let's go back one. Yeah. So one of the things that's always been said to me is, oh, well, you know, all these people that are being baptised, they don't really know anything about the Bible. And I just wanted to show if this works, and I've cut sections of Duncan introducing and then talking about for quite a long time our Bible basic understanding. And these people have already been through this. It wasn't as if this was the first time. So if it works...
Well, good morning. I want to talk about Bible basics, the doctrines that we believe.
صبح شما بخیر در مورد مفاهیم اولیه بایبل کتابی که خدا نوشتن میخوام صحبت کنم.
I want to talk about the nature of Jesus. I want to talk about the promises that God has made. I want to talk now about death. I want to talk now about the kingdom of God. I want to talk about Satan. So I want to talk about where Jesus came from. I want to talk about the nature of Jesus. I want to talk about baptism.
So this was a long session, interpreted each part, going through what our beliefs are, what our understandings are, so there could be no doubt whatever what it is we believe. So after there'd been the morning session, we all went for lunch, and again this was provided for everybody. Really nice lunch together, time to spend with each other. Then we moved on to the baptisms. This is just a selection of a few that were baptised, as I say 42 altogether. think what came across to me was the joy, the real joy of each one of those people as they came down for baptism and came out of the waters. And it was wonderful to see the joy on their faces. And when you think about it, these people are changing from everything they have been in the past and everything which would be their security in their own countries to something which is totally unsecure and unknown. And yet it was a wonderful, wonderful joy. We then moved on to the breaking of bread, and so this was the first time that these 42 people were able to break bread, plus the other brethren and sisters that they, I think, Duncan, I think there were probably about 70 people all together. And so So those were the people. This is the photograph afterwards. Everybody there, and it was a wonderful occasion, really wonderful occasion. This is them a week or so later meeting again, and all joining together. A wonderful church there at really Laodicea. So for me it was, I really want to go back. I want to see those people again, and I would recommend to anybody here, if you get a chance to go out there. My journey was a lot easier than Andy's. I flew straight into Denizli through Istanbul. I didn't go the other route, and get a taxi from the airport. So for me it was actually quite an easy journey to make, but a wonderful experience. And pray for all those brethren and sisters that hopefully their situation will improve.
Excellent, thank you very much, Julian. I'm not going to let you run away either. Absolutely brilliant, thank you so much. I suppose the question that arises for me is, are they meeting regularly as a community? Has a community established there, or are they really a group of individuals? How does that work in Denizli?
Well, we were talking about whether they can get their own place to meet in. This place would be ideal, but it's actually a bit out of the centre, and also they felt it was a bit expensive, so they were going to look to try and find a place to meet. I don't know whether they found anywhere yet, Duncan, that you know.
No, they are meeting. I'm on their WhatsApp group. They're meeting like 25 at a time in different people's flats, and I keep getting the messages come through to me. I go, we're meeting in so-and-so's flat this week at such and such time. So in response to Charles' question, yes, they are meeting, but in groups of 25 or so at a time.
But that's fabulous, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So they're mutually supportive. They are, I suppose, as a community in a foreign country, they're going to be together anyway. What is the biggest thing that we can do for them, do you think, Julian?
Visit would be one.
Do you feel that that's important, that they benefit? How do they benefit from us visiting them, would you say?
I think it's continuity. It means there's a connection as well. I'm on WhatsApp now with them, and I'm getting regular messages through.
Right.
But to me, you know, they're out there on their own. They've not had. There's not anybody there with long experience of our beliefs, and so for me to make sure that that's reinforced, and they have lots of questions, and
do you find that they're almost bombarding you with different questions about aspects of how you live your life, scriptural questions, belief, doctrine, understanding?
Yeah, some of those.
Yeah.
And I think they're just in this area that they can't get out of.
Yeah.
And so if people went in and gave them more support, I think that would be good.
Yeah. And you mentioned Laodicea. We're all going to remember that, I guess. Laodicea, are going to get all sorts of corruptions of that. How close to Denizli is that?
5 miles.
5 miles.
Yeah.
So phenomenal.
Yeah.
How close is that?
Yeah.
You know, it's not for no reason, surely.
No.
It's not coincidence.
No.
It's a God incident.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting because they've got a Bible open at the page of Revelation in that church. But actually, when you read it, of course, with Laodicea, it was, you know, you're not hot, you're not cold. It was criticism, wasn't it? But,
indeed. Just the hotel and the facilities. I'm surprised that as Christians, do they just see it as a business opportunity and they're not too worried what the group is? I mean, how does the religious perspective come in Turkish society?
I think I haven't had the history of it because it's been there before. I think they do look at it as a business, and one of the things I should have said was we get the swimming pool for a length of time. When Duncan went to pay the bill, they had managed to charge for each person that had been baptised as going into the swimming pool, which was like £3.50, £4 if you wanted to go in the swimming pool. So they produced this huge bill for everybody.
So you actually get an individual receipt,
yes, for
of your baptism moment.
Yes,
it's kind of surreal, isn't it?
Yes, plus us that went in as well.
Right.
The only thing I would say, there was quite a mess of water all over the hotel, traipsing up because we're changing in other areas. So you could tell as you walked from the swimming pool going the other way, you could see all the water getting bigger and bigger and bigger as it went towards the pool. Because 42 people, it's a lot of people.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And presumably Duncan and Julian and Andy as well, this is ongoing. This isn't sort of a cohort of people that are now baptised and that's a church, but there are others who are interested. So there we are. You can fly and get a taxi, and the opportunity is there for all of us. So it's one to bear in mind.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
We'll probably come back to it later on. Brilliant. So fascinating to hear about the work in Turkey. We're now going to switch laptops, I believe, and Phil Martin is going to share some thoughts with us. Now's a good moment if anybody would like to take a comfort break whilst we just transfer onto another laptop. If anybody needs a comfort break, I'm not recommending you go in search of teas and coffees though, but if you need a little stretch and just compose yourself, and then we'll take the next session through until lunchtime.